Next question is from Showrorin. Hello, I am listening to your live stream in Japan. Which do you like? New England IPA with the old school dry hopping or with the recent dry hopping, like adding hops in fermentation? So Shiroro thank you so much for the question and welcome from Japan. That's awesome. That always, again, I sound like a dork every time I say it, but that stuff always blows me away. So we're kind of just talking about dry hopping approaches with New England style IPA. There's a couple things that I think you want to look out for. Remember, when we are brewing New England style IPA, we do want that beer to be hazy. And the reason that haze is in play is there's a few things. But one of the things happening is that there is haze that is acting as a carrier for hop flavor and aroma, for hop oils. Okay. So sometimes it's not just that we want it, we just don't want a yeast slurry in there, right? But we are actually talking about a hop haze with things like this, at least on some level. When we have this conversation between old school dry hopping and then the more recent dry hopping, like adding hops during fermentation, there's some really interesting research that was done by what yeast lab? It's the one with the budding yeast cell, Omega. And Dr. Laura, I can't remember her last name off the top of my head. Not Dr. Laura, like the radio or Fox News person. I don't remember. But yeah, not like the conservative talk show host, Dr. Laura. And maybe her name's not Dr. Laura at all, but she is from Omega. Super smart lady. And she was making the rounds a whole ton on the podcast circuit, talking about haze and permanent haze, or more permanent haze in Hazy IPA. I think that what they show is the more you'd use fermentation or mid-fermentation dry hops or active fermentation dry hop, you can be getting some of the biotransformation that people are looking for with that, changing the impression of some of those hop compounds into something potentially a little bit more fruity. But you also run a danger with making those beers clearer. I think they said is once you start getting into like day 7 of fermentation with typical hazy IPA yeast strains, that's when you can hit those beers and not be impacting beer clarity or haze stability. But I would really jump on the Omega Yeast website and look at haze stability. I know they have a bunch of blog posts and things like that. You should really dig into that because it's very, very interesting. I am a proponent of doing very large dry hops. I think, unless you're getting really remarkable hops or, you're using a lot of, really great advanced products or whatever, I do think you probably need to be getting into at least the 3 to 4 pound per barrel range for that and kind of rousing those hops and maybe dealing with a little bit of hop creep if it comes at you. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. I would dig into that content, but in my mind, that's my preferred approach. Is I don't like the active fermentation dry hop. I prefer later in the process. Scott Janish is doing his dry hopping for his hazies cold, like very cold. He's down into the 30 degrees F, 32, 33 degrees F. He's very cold. Maybe 35 degrees, but I know he's hella cold way down there. Okay. But yeah, that's my take on it, man. Thank you so much for tuning in from Japan. I don't know why that always finding out where people are like that, it always lifts my spirits. It's always so cool to see. It's humbling to think that there's people all over the place listening to this stuff. So anyways, great to see you in the chat, and I hope to see you in some other ones. Keep dropping questions if you have them in the future.